good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining me today. It's Pastor Adepeju from Wholeness Outreaches Incorporation here in Albany, New York, coming to you live from Albany, New York. And we are going to be talking about practical steps to wholeness living, practical steps to a life that is whole. Today we are going to be talking about mind. Mind is a topic that is still extremely huge. In my 15-20 minutes of sharing briefly with you, I will not be able to exhaust the power of your mind or mind management, mind control, just the subject on mind. But in wholeness, we need to talk about mind. What is mind? The power of your mind, management of your mind, controlling of your mind. You know, the scripture talks about, I wish above all that you prosper, that your soul prosper. I wish above all that you be in health, just as your soul prosper. So the prosperity of our soul, which I believe is also mind, our prosperity in life. And when we talk about prosperity, we're not just talking about financial gains alone. We're talking about general wholeness. We're talking about well-being. We're talking about the alignment of our spirit, of our soul, and our body. We're generally talking about a total man living in a conscious life, really being present all the time. So, what do we use to connect with our body? I mean, we are spirit, we are soul, we are also body. So the soul is really mind, or part of the soul is mind and soul. So I will be focusing more on mind. We know spirit is the spirit life, is the inner life. Mind is the inner life also. We engage our physical body by our mind. So, whatsoever we planted in our mind, our physical body will live it out. So, mind is a huge topic that we cannot, in this few minutes of sharing with you, that we cannot exhaust it. So, but what is mind? In a nutshell, mind is the seat of our emotion. It is the seat of our feelings, of our thinking. So, mind is, in a nutshell, mind is just the seat of our emotion, of our feelings, of our thinking, of our I will, I am. Mind is really where we manifest self. So from the spirit to the mind and then to the physical body. So we cannot describe the power of the mind enough. Our mind is so huge. I better say that 99% of us is really our mind. Our mind is extend out of us. Our mind is just so huge. So, a mind that is sound, thought is also part of the mind. So, our thinking, our emotion, our feeling, you feel, you think, and then you speak. So all these actions, all these beings are really in our mind. So to live a very successful life, we must master our mind. We must be able to control our mind. We must be able to engage our mind. We must be able to manage our mind. So mind is the seat of our thinking, our thoughts, our feeling, our emotion, our I will, I am. We assert ourselves from our minds. So we cannot underrate our mind, the power of our mind. And if we're conscious that our mind is powerful, then we also have to know how to manage this mind. We have a mind that is limitless. We have a mind that we cannot I'm trying to look for a better word to describe the mind. I truly believe that the mind is different from the brain. So The brain is the physical organ. You can really get out the brain and hold the brain and dissect the brain. But our mind is quite different from our brain. So, but we have to engage the power of the mind, mind over matter. So your mind has to really be over this physical body. So all the actions of the brain, the mind directs the actions of the brain. And we need to know how to really manage the mind to live a successful life, a whole life, a life that is adding value to ourselves and then to humanity. So in this process, to live a healthy life, to live a life in well-being, to live a healthy life, our mind must be extremely sound. There's a popular saying that you are what you think. Where's your thought life? To really live a life that is whole, that is successful, the mind must be managed. Your mind must be in control. And a controlled mind now will help us to achieve success in life. You are what you think. I truly believe that you are what you think. It does not limit to weight loss. It does not limit to financial gains. It's so huge that, we are what we eat also, because when we eat, it goes back to our physical body. But the most important thing is that we are what we also think. So, to manage our mind, we must know how to manage our thought life. I will say that again. To manage our lives, we must know how to manage our thought life. And one of the practical steps, to manage our lives, again, I'll take that again. To live a joyful life, we must know how to manage our mind. To live a love life, we must know how to manage our mind. To live a life that is peaceful, we must know how to manage our lives. It gives a perfect peace whose mind is stayed on God. So when our mind, one of the ways of managing our mind is that when our mind is stayed on our source, on our maker, when our mind is stayed on our maker, we have perfect peace. Last week I've been talking about peace, I've been talking about joy, I've been talking about, the essence of this program is really talking about wholeness. Wholeness, living a life that is whole, living a life that is I wish above all that you prosper, living a life that is prospering. Like I said, prosperity is not just financial gains. Prosperity stems from your mind. Mind management. And for prosperity of our physical body, no matter how much money we have in our bank account, it cannot compare to a life that is healthy. Everything must be in balance. We need financial prosperity, but we also, the most important thing that we need is really to be in health. And when you are in health, I wish above all that you prosper. In your soul first, which is the mind. So, the prosperity of our soul will enable us to live a life that is healthy. We enable us to live the life that is balanced. We enable us to live a life that is adding value to humanity. So, again, mind is the seat of your thoughts. So, what we think affects every organs of our body. Our thinking. We can use our thoughts to achieve greatness in life. So a thought that is defected will take us away from that path that is already made for us to walk in. So how do we manage this mind? How do we manage this mind? How do we manage this mind? I'm so glad you asked me that question. Mind management stems from even knowing who you are. I'll take that again. Mind management stems from knowing who you are. Mind management stems from knowing your composition. Mind management stems from knowing who you believe in, who you trust in. So the first one, knowing who you are. Knowing who you are stems from knowing that you are not just the physical body. It stems from knowing that you are not just the son of your father. You are not just the son of your mother, but that you are a human being that is spirit, that is soul, and that lives in this physical body. So when we know that, now we begin to know that the soul, because the definition of our mind is that mind is the seat of our thinking, our thoughts. It's a seat of our feeling. It's a seat of our emotion. It's a seat of our will. I will do this. So when we know that is the seat, that is a part of who we are. We're also spiritual. Inside of that, it's like an egg. I always use that analogy. I always use that example. Like a boiled egg. Outside of the boiled egg is the shell. That's your physical body. And the white is your soul. And the yolk, right? The shell covers the white, and inside of the white is the yolk. So the yolk is your spirit. It's an example that can easily be grasped. And the white is your soul. So the prosperity, the prosperity, whatsoever is in our spirit, stems into our soul. And then we take all of it, and it's now spread into our physical body. And also, what we think, I will not, my first point in how we manage our mind, how we process our mind, is with knowing who we really are. That's the number one thing. And knowing our composition. Knowing our composition, that we're spirit, we're soul, and our body. And the spiritual life stems from knowing the source of who we are, meaning that God is the source. So our spirit connects to the source. God is in our spirit. God is in our spirit. And then the soul, it stems from the soul, from the spirit into our soul. And as we also put our thinking, we talk about thinking, as we put our thought on the things that we want to see in life, as we begin to meditate, number one thing is knowing your source. Number two, in the practical steps to managing your mind, is also knowing that the thinking, the thought, what is thought. Another time we really talk about thought. Our thinking, our thought, and our thought patterns, how it affects our life, how it affects managing our mind. But tonight we're focusing on just mind management. Okay, so number one is knowing who you are. Number two is also knowing how to manage your thought. Thought is just part of the mind. So how to manage your thought and how to use your thought. And also the power of your words. It also stems because you feel, you think, you feel, and then you speak. So managing our mind, the number one point is knowing how to manage our thought life. You know who you are. You knowing how to manage your thinking, how to know that is this thought. When a thought comes to you that doesn't bring out the life that you want to live, bring out health, bring out healing, bring out joy, bring out happiness, bring out wholeness. When that thought doesn't align to what will prosper you in life, you take that thought, you hold that thought, you hold the thought, you hold it captive, and you discard the thought. And looking at those are the practical steps. You discard the thought, and you replace the thought with the thought that you want to see in your physical body. And this process is not a process that will just happen, you can just master it overnight. When we know what we have to do, We have to accept it and use it as our life, as a roadmap to building ourselves, to making sure that our thought life is managed perfectly. Every thought that doesn't bring out life, we take it and we discard it. And how does this really affect our mind? One of the ways that we manage our mind after discarding what we do not want, I call it the mirror principle, the mirror way of really managing your mind. It's looking at yourself in the mirror. Because when you look at yourself in the mirror, do you like what you see? You can call what you see. You see, do you like what you see? Do you like what you feel? Do you like what you feel? How you feel? Do you like what you say to yourself? Like, what is your I am? Do you like how you speak to yourself that I am this, I am that? What are your I ams? If you're full of saying I am that doesn't bring out life, you have to use the mirror print. One of the ways that I know that works is gazing at yourself in the mirror and continue daily practice of saying, speaking to yourself and also looking at yourself and saying the things that you believe in your life. That's part of managing your mind, because mind is the seat of our prosperity, it's the seat of our healing, it's the seat of our health. Again, another point in really managing this mind, in really managing our mind, it's truly living at peace, being peaceful, being peaceful. Peace, we've talked about, but sometimes when situation comes, we forget everything that we know about mind management. But when we adopt some system and we begin to pattern our life on a system, we have an operating system, which is really one of the ways. I mean, if you know your composition, you also have to know that you have to manage that composition. You have to have an operating system on how to use this whatsoever, like I'm talking about now. If you want to use the point that I'm saying, which I'm using in my life every day, you have to also have a system that works for you. And one of the systems that I know that works in mind management is really this mirror principle of looking at yourself and calling out what you believe, and also being at peace. Peace, peace, peace. Like I believe 2 weeks ago or last week, about the importance of peace in living a life that is whole. And peace stems from being mindful, being at one moment with God, always knowing that God is with you, your source is with you. It's part of managing your mind, knowing who you believe and who you trust as your source, number one, and really being mindful of being in present moment, being mindful, just being mindful. No matter what we are going through, kind of like taking a pause all the time, taking a pause and engage in things that you know, like breathing. We cannot discard, when we talk about peace, when we talk about mind management, we cannot discard meditation, mindfulness, practicing the presence of God, of our Maker. How do we practice that? Just being mindful that you are not alone. And what you do over and over and over again becomes a second nature. So every point that we're talking about mind management, we have to put them into practice. Put them into practice. Put them into practice. And to be able to manage our mind right. Manage our mind right is really communication with our source, with our Maker. And I'll put that in a nutshell. I cannot overemphasize the power of our prayer connecting to our source. When you are connected to your source, you want to communicate with your source. And management of our mind, prayer cannot be left alone. We have to be able to communicate with our source, first knowing our source, our connection, knowing our source, ourselves, knowing who you are, your composition, and practicing the presence of your source in meditation, being mindful, being, and when I'm talking about being mindful, we have to also remember breathing. The breath of the Almighty has given us life. And when we know that, we have to also know how to calm this mind down, calm ourselves down. If we know that mind is thinking, is feeling, is emotion, is I will. So when, and let's say anxiety comes, when things that will not bring health unto you, we know that the art of mastering our breathing technique can really calm us down. And when you are calmed down, when you are relaxed, is the beginning of really living in health. It's the beginning of the prosperity of the mind. And prosperity of the mind is really what brings health, what brings healing, what brings happiness, joy unto us. Prosperity of our mind. Prosperity of our mind. Prosperity of our mind. When mind is managed right, prosperity comes. And prosperity is sustained. And prosperity, as I define, is not limited to wealth. Prosperity of our body, of our soul, nothing will be nothing will be impossible for us when our mind is healed. That means prosperity for our health, physical health, mental health, emotional health is possible when mind is managed right, when mind is controlled, when we have the process of managing our mind. So, mind management, mind control also stems from the power, I said that again, we cannot overemphasize it, stems on resting ourselves, meaning thinking of things that are true, good, positive things that are lovely, things that are of good report, taking our minds away from evil, thoughts of evil, discarding thoughts of evil. And I will come to how to discard thoughts of evil thoughts that does not bring health, thoughts that does not bring healing, thoughts that does not bring wholeness, discarding them and setting our minds. How do we set our mind? To fix our focus, visualization, meditation. Fix our minds on health, on wealth, on prosperity, on abundance, on the things that we know we had value to us and add value to humanity. Mind management is managing our mind is extremely important in living a healthy and wealthy life. We've been talking about this evening about mind. And as I said before, this is just scratching the surface of mind. Mind is huge. The whole of our physical body, we touch the wall with our physical body. But our mind extends to, it's scientifically, it's been, proven that our mind extends more than even that we can even measure. But from our mind, we have to be able to manage this mind. We have to be able to manage this mind. We have to be able to manage this mind by connecting to our source and by the power engaging our source in communication, which we call prayer. Again, thank you so much for joining me in these practical steps to wholeness living. We've been again talking about mind and mind management. Thank you. I hope it has been an encouraging word to you, inspirational word to you, a word of wholeness, a word that brings life and health and healing to your mind, soul, that will extend to your physical body. Till I see you next Thursday, be whole, take hold of your mind, and know that you are blessed with a mind that is the mind of God. Thank you. Bye for now. Blessings.